I was looking at the obvious titles that people were going to place on me. I was believing the obvious titles that people would place on my kid sister. White trash, deaf and dumb, retarded. And they would just beat us down. I was on Jay Leno. I went on Jay Leno with a guy named Sylvester Stallone, and him and I got to appear on Jay Leno together. And they talked about my life. They showed the Dateline episode. They said I went to 7 different high schools. It was 6. The other one I voluntarily left. I was like, I didn't really technically go to that one. But we were constantly moving and constantly getting beat down and constantly getting made fun of and poked at. And I thought to myself, I can't live this obvious lifestyle anymore. I can't do it. So it was my mom that would say, you know what, son? You have to learn to look at life beyond the obvious. You have to learn to look at life beyond the title that people are going to place on you, beyond the things that people are going to say. And you have to really, really dig inside to find a different perspective. I thought, okay, that makes sense. I guess it makes sense. She says, for example, you're meant to do big things. You're meant to do big things. I don't know how big, but big. And right now, the house that we're in, it's just too small for us. It's way too small for us because you're too big for this house. So you know what we're going to do? I said, what's that, Mama? She goes, we're going to upgrade houses. Wow, that's great. I don't feel too big for the house. Yeah, we're too big for the house. So every 6 to 10 months, we would upgrade houses. I thought, gosh, my mama's got to be rich, or I'm growing so fast. I'm in 8th grade, and I have this perception of us being too big for things, of us being rich, because my mom was always upgrading houses. And I remember sitting at the 8th grade lunch table, and I remember talking to the kid, and I said to him, I said, I got to tell you, I think we're rich. I'm too big for this house. And I had another boy come up and tap on the table and says, I got to tell you something. I said, what's that? He said, my dad's your landlord. You ain't upgrading houses. You being evicted. Evicted? What are you talking about? He goes, yep, that's the truth. You being evicted. And all of a sudden my world crashed. My world crashed because my mom had lied. My mom had lied to me. My mom had lied to me, and I was going to confront her. I jump on my bike. I start pedaling my bike as fast as I can, and I'm pedaling. I'm thinking, how am I going to address my mom? How am I going to address her within a safe distance so she don't jack me? And I'm thinking, you are a liar, Mom. And that's what I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her that she lied to me. And I'm pedaling my bike, pedaling my bike. I get into the bike, I throw it into the grass, I kick open the door, and I says, Mom! She's sitting in a chair like this. She looks over at me, she says, yeah? Mom! I gotta tell you, you're a liar. What'd you say? I said, you're a liar. You lied to me my whole life. We ain't upgraded a house, we being evicted. And you lied, and this is serious stuff. Whoa! Son of a rock, get over. Whoa. It ain't that serious. Settle down, Mom. I'm making such a big deal out of things. She comes to me and she's not mad. She's not angry. But she realizes that I've come to the realization of reality. And she says, son, you do 2 things in life when you're handed the cards that you're handed. And those 2 things you do is you always do the right thing. But if you can't do the right thing, you make things right. And right now I'm just trying to make things right for you. I don't want you to invest into the obvious titles. I don't want you to invest what they say about your kid sis and what they say about you. What I want you to do is look beyond that. Look at your kid sister. Take a look at her. What do you see? I said, well, I see an angel on earth. She said, what do they tell you? Well, they tell me she's deaf and dumb. Well, who says that you have to always listen with your ears? Sometimes you listen with your heart. She goes, so Troy, it's the 2 things that you got to do. You do the right thing, or you make things right. You do the right thing, or you make things right. Say it with me over here. You do the right thing, or you make things right. You do the right thing, or you make things right. I'm going to jump down to the crowd. If I don't hear it loud enough, I'll just hand someone else the mic. You do the right thing, or you make things right. Well, there's some people that don't want to get on stage. They were singing it loud. And that's what my mom said. So I'm armed with this beyond the obvious attitude. I'm armed with, you do the right thing when you make things right. And so we go through our life, 7 different high schools. We go through our life, trials and tribulations, living on the system, PA, and finally we end up going from poverty to profit. I built my business, I built my company, I start billing out a couple dollars here, a couple more dollars here, I start giving back to the community. And the next thing you know, I've got a pretty big business. I've got this big giant business. I've actually got a PhD. And it's amazing. And all of a sudden, the show, The Apprentice, comes out. The Apprentice comes out and they're looking for the smartest minds in America. The smartest minds in America. My wife sends in my application. 215,000 people applied. 11,000 face-to-face interviews. 250 callbacks. And it gets down to 50 of us. And we go on the inaugural show. And I make it all the way into the finals. I go all the way into the finals. And finally, I'm up against my good friend Kwame Jackson, who's got a degree from Harvard University. And Mr. Trump looks at me and he says, Troy, got a kid with a high school diploma and got a kid with a Harvard degree. What do you think I'm going to pick? And I said, Mr. Trump, I ain't going to knock education because I think people should get it. But just because I didn't pay tuition sure doesn't mean I didn't pay attention. He says, makes sense. And I said, and aside from that, I got a PhD. He goes, you got a PhD? Starts flipping through the papers. I said, yes, sir. I said, if you look beyond the obvious, I got a PhD. He's flipping through the papers and goes, I don't see what university you went to. I said, no, my PhD. I was poor, hungry, and driven.
Was that funny?
He's still fired. But needless to say, after that happened, 28 million Americans a week watching that show. And I've got the richest and the most famous people calling me each and every day, telling me, I'm a fan of yours. I like what you do. I'd like to hire you. I'd like to talk to you about marketing. I'd like to talk to you about messaging. And all these people are calling me, from politicians to inventors to actors to singers. Anybody recognize Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, you love iTunes, iPhone, iPad, Facebook, because if it wasn't for Steve Jobs, you wouldn't have Facebook because he was motivated, Google was motivated by Larry Page from Steve Jobs. This guy has changed your world. And you ain't even met him, but you use his technology each and every day. He's changed the landscape of learning. The landscape of social media forever has been changed by Steve Jobs. George Clooney, when he called, my wife said, give me the phone. I'm like, shut up, woman. I'm talking to him. She said, give me the phone. I said, you're married. She said, not when I'm on the phone with him. George Clooney is one of the most famous actors in America today. But you know what else he is? He's a global leader. He's a global leader that helps mend racial tensions in Darfur and Sudan. He has changed the landscape of how we interact in America. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a United States president. A president. He was the most powerful CEO in the world. In the world. I can't remember that girl's name. Anybody recognize her? We actually need to talk to Alan, because Alan, when you guys, after the crowd, you come talk to Alan over here. Because I met her, he knows her. So I'm actually going to be waiting in line and talking to Alan. Give it up for Alan one more time. We need to be talking to you. I'm in line, like, hook me up, please. Hook me up one more time. Come on. But all these people start calling. And all these people tell me, I'm inspired by your message. I'm inspired by what you have to say. Can you talk to me? I remember one phone call. My wife, and by the way, nobody tells you to change your phone number when you get on TV or anything, and you're not prepped for that. I get this phone call, and my wife, she answers the phone, and she says, hello? Yes. Yes, Mr. Johnson, absolutely. Well, yes, he is. Okay. My wife puts the phone down, and she says, honey, I've got Mr. Johnson on the phone for you, but before I give it over to you, you have to promise me one thing. I said, what is it? What is it? What is it, honey? Promise me you won't say anything stupid. Oh, I thought for a second, because I've been taught never make a promise you can't keep. oh, honey, I don't know. I promise I will make my best attempt not to say anything stupid. She says, I got Dwayne Johnson on the phone for you. Hands over the phone, and I'm like, oh my God, Dwayne Johnson, pick up the phone. Well, Dwayne Johnson, I don't know who you are. Who are you? Dwayne Johnson, I recognize your name. Right? I hear him talking. He says, how you doing? I said, man, I recognize that voice. He's like, well, I just want to tell you, I was a huge fan of yours over the years. Came up the way you did, and I got to tell you, it's just great. I'm like, wow, dude, I said, Dwayne, let me ask you. I said, is that your real name? He said, yeah, that's my real name. I said, but what do you do? He goes, I'm an actor. I go, you're an actor? I said, I don't recognize your voice. I said, do you go by a different name? He said, you might recognize me as The Rock. That's what I did. I was like, whoa, The Rock. And all of a sudden I freak out. I'm like, have you seen your pets? I'm an heterosexual man up with you. Who says heterosexual man love to another man? I was like, oh my God. Who says that, right? Have you seen your pecs? Who says that to another guy? Dude, I love your pecs. All right, bounce them. Like that doesn't come on. Who says that? That's time. But it brought me back. It brought me back to the one time in high school that I would say something stupid. That I would say something dumb. That I couldn't take it back. Because once it comes out, you can't stop it. Once it comes out, you can't rewind it. So you got to recover from it. And I thought to myself, this is it, I screwed myself. I'm over. My career is over in the marketing world. Because he could say, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're an idiot. He has the leverage. But you know what he did? He said, brother, don't worry about that. I get excited too. I'm actually excited to talk to you. Don't worry about that. Water off a duck's back. And he let it go. But he had the leverage, and that's what bullying is about. Bullying is defined. And I don't need to tell you guys this. Listen, you all got a PhD like me. Hopefully one day you'll be working on your MBA. You guys know what your MBA is, right? There you go. That's N as an N, but MBA is when you go on and get a degree. I thought you guys would know that, right? Some of you are going to go on and get a degree. Some of you guys are going to go on and get a massive bank account. But that's what you can work on. But that's what I'm talking about is the MBAs and the PhDs says by definition, it's an imbalance of power. When somebody mistakenly gives something up because of their color of their skin, because of their socioeconomic level, because of what they said, they mistakenly give something up and somebody else takes advantage of that power. It's repeated and systematic harassment and attacks on others, perpetuated by individuals or groups. Physical violence, verbal taunts. We all know what it is. You made some amazing videos. I don't need to show you these charts. I need to ask you to take a gut check. Because you know when it happens. You see it, you feel it. I don't need to be up here educating you on it. I need to be asking you and inviting all of you to take a gut check. Threats, intimidations, extortion, stealing money, harassment, spreading rumors. Traits of a bully. They want to have the power. They want to have the power because somebody's taken the power from them. They want to have the power. Somebody's taken the power from them. They have a positive attitude towards violence. They have a quick temper. Now, as you start reading this, you guys can read the rest of it. I started reading that, and I started thinking, man, I've been bullied my whole life, but that describes me. That's me. Because sometimes the one that gets bullied becomes the bully. Because they want to give it back to somebody. They want somebody to feel their pain. So you have to remember that when you're being bullied, don't become the bully. Because you're becoming what you hate. Don't do that. Bully stats. There's a whole bunch of them. Here's some that I want to read off to you. More than 50% of teens ages 12 to 17 witness at least one bully or taunting incident in school each week. Students in grades 7 to 12 say revenge is the strongest motivation for school shootings. School shootings. 86% said other kids picking on them, making fun of them, or bullying them can cause teenagers to turn to violence. And this is usually where I'm supposed to go on and I'm supposed to show you everybody that has killed themselves and hung themselves. Like little Emily in New Jersey, she's 12 years old, and somebody posted something bad about her on Facebook. Because someone posted something bad, she hung herself? This is usually where I'm supposed to